Good evening, namaskar, adab. Warm welcome to another special edition of Talk to Bhupen. I first want to thank all of you for constantly giving us so much of feedback on this show, which frankly is just in its second week. But the kind of feedback that I've got from all of you, from all our viewers, has frankly overwhelmed me, and it convinces me that there is a huge gap which exists within our ecosystem where we need to focus only and only on facts, focus only and only on data. Great pleasure for me to be welcoming my dear friend Saket Mishra, well-known banker. He's been in our TV studios on multiple occasions in the past, and now Saket is here in our Zoom studio. Saket, good evening. How does it feel like to be in this kind of a futuristic environment?
A lot younger. I
Yeah,
certainly feel
that's a
about 20 years older than I am, so it's
yeah,
all good.
that's the beauty.
Congratulations on the start.
That's a beauty. That's a beauty. And I wish you well, and I hope that this the spirit of youth and the spirit of trying to take the story of Indian economy to the next level is something which impacts everybody. Talk to Bhupen. It's a show which we do daily at 8 p.m. I started off in the middle of March when I was in my earlier TV avatar as someone who had self-quarantined myself. Little did I know that by the end of April, I will end up creating a completely new model. But I'm delighted. I'm happy that we are trying to create to some meaningful contribution to public discourse. And that's why I talk to Bhupen, and that's why this platform. Our blunt question tonight is straight. And it's a question which I think impacts everybody. Just the right time for me to be welcoming Rakesh Vaid as well, another well-known entrepreneur who deals across various boards from Apparel Council. He runs the NGOs, interacts with various industry bodies. Rakesh bhai, good evening. Warm welcome to you as well.
Thank you.
Hope you're
Good
safe
evening.
and sound. Hope you're
Good
safe
evening.
and sound. What we want to do today is we want to look at the story of Indian economy. As we do now on a daily basis, we try and look at what is going on in critical sectors. Straight question which we're raising is this: that is time up for small businesses? On a day like this, on a day when one of the country's biggest corporate groups, Reliance Industries, has tied up into a multi-million dollar deal, almost 45,000 crore rupees. That's the value of the stake which is being picked by Facebook in Geo, 10%. Just imagine 43,574 crore in Geo platforms on a 9.99% stake. That is the value. Here we were talking about gloom and doom, and look at what Reliance has managed to achieve with Facebook. Is it in any ways, well, now going to help us in our future businesses? How will it play out is a question that we really need to look out for closely. So first up, before I bring in Saket and Rakesh, and we'll be joined by Amesh General Sivach as well in a short while from now to look at the strategic question in the context of China, I want to look at a few slides. This is a report which has been prepared by a well-known industrial body, ASSOCHAM, and look at what this report actually talks about. What this report tells you clearly is what is the challenge which is staring at you in your face. The pandemic impacts almost every sector differently. That's the net conclusion. Whether you're railways, whether you're in farmers and life sciences, media entertainment, information technology, look at the number of sectors which are being impacted very negative. And that should worry you. The purple dots: tourism and hospitality, FMCG, banking, retail. These are all sectors which are going to be impacted heavily, very, very negatively. Then comes the question of status quos. Look at that status quo. Well, there is one, two, telecom and media entertainment actually falling in the section of status quo, but negative neutral, between very negative and negative neutral, is the story of Indian economy. So let's stay with this slide for a moment, and let me first begin with you, Saket. How do you read this graphic, Saket? Does it tell you that the scenario in front of us is going to be an extremely, extremely bad scenario? Is that the way to look at the scenario right now? Or do you think that it suggests some kind of an opportunity for you?
Look, I think it's a short-term bad scenario because the economy is in lockdown and no economic activity is happening. So therefore, there is no demand for goods. There are no airlines going. There are no passengers on railways. There are no restaurants working, etc., etc. But having said that, I think what this perhaps hides is either an opportunity or an evolutionary change that happens in India, where if we are able to continue to help a lot of our entrepreneurial small sectors across sectors, right, across industry,
Hmm.
whether it's pharma research, there's somebody coming up with a new vaccine, or
Hmm.
media and entertainment, someone like you coming up with a new delivery, model which doesn't require the cost of staying in Noida, or IT. I think there is opportunity as long as we provide the right help and kickstart of the economy once lockdown ends. And there, I think, one of my favorite phrases is that sort of societal losses or risk need to be effectively transferred to the government, and the
Hmm.
government needs to ensure that the small and medium sector can
Hmm.
survive and can compete with big players. And I think we can
Hmm.
come back up. So I think within this story,
Yeah, that'll be a problem. That'll be a problem. That how will the small and medium sector, how is that really going to, how is that really well going to survive? It's a valid question. What's do you believe, Saket? Do you believe, as I specifically look at, say, retail and banking? Now look at what this survey suggests, that the banking sector is going to be impacted very, very negatively. What I want to know from you, since you yourself are a banker, if the feeling is that India's GDP is going to come down below 2%, the GDP growth rate is going to come down below 2%, there are some suggesting it could even be sub-zero. How does it impact the banking sector in India then?
look, I mean, I think the biggest issue is you're going to have what we've got, the 3 month moratorium, that forbearance that we'll need to provide to a lot of corporates
Hmm.
is going to impact bank balance sheets.
Hmm.
The big challenge, and again, I actually do not think banking is going to be impacted as negatively as it's been put in this chart. I fundamentally disagree. I think there'll be good banks. I mean, you think of a Kotak Bank. Kotak Bank is out raising money because they're conservative, and guess what? They're able to get money because people think that they actually run a good shop. So
Hmm.
it's going to differ across sectors. As far as banking is concerned, as long as again we can keep people from taking advantage of this moratorium and the sort of forbearance that we're allowing, and we allow banks to actually have a degree of flexibility with the IBC process and with the process of recognizing the NPAs, I think the
Hmm.
banking sector itself will come back up. I mean, if anything, you look at
Hmm.
assuming, whether it's V shaped or W shaped, eventually there needs to be a lot of spending that has to happen. That
Hmm.
spending fundamentally requires banking. So it's a question of who's maintaining good books.
Hmm.
Those who maintain good books are going to come out on top. Some others, as we've seen in the recent past, where the credit practices have not been good,
Hmm.
are going to come a cropper. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with
Hmm.
poor institutions failing, and I think we should allow them to fail.
Hmm. All right. If that's the scenario, Rakesh Ved, explain to me, Rakeshji, in terms of what you see, in terms of the challenges that you yourself are facing, Rakesh, where do you stand on this? Well, a bit of an optimistic scenario, which is being put up, which is being put up by Saket, that, well, if you're an industry which is not working, if you're an institution which is not working, well, then you need to fail. I mean, is the competition going to increase, Rakeshji, for you?
No, I think Sakeji has his own view.
Hmm.
This locked-in lockdown was inevitable, but you know what? We, the from the medium and small industries,
Hmm.
we feel it was not a considered decision.
Hmm.
The threat, the perceptions were not properly analyzed. What happened? We had a one-day lockdown, the public curfew, what you call it, and then same evening you're announcing a lockdown for 3 weeks, and then it gets extended. So far, government has not even planned even once, not walked even one step
Hmm.
towards analyzing what is going to happen to the economy at the micro level.
Hmm.
Now, look at the industries. For example, let me talk about my industry. Now, we are facing a triple whammy.
Hmm.
Our payments were stuck. Our major markets, for example, in apparel and textile, are the six biggest markets: are US and UK, Germany, Spain, Italy, and France.
Hmm.
All these six countries are locked down.
Hmm.
So the payments which were due, they're not coming through.
Hmm.
Goods in stock, end process, cancelled.
Hmm.
Future order, cancelled.
Hmm.
And we employ close to about 9 million people nationwide.
Hmm.
No one thinks about it. And the stimulus package that government has announced so far, let me tell you, these packages are just nothing but eyewash. The government's approach still more is towards, in an election mode every time the government is in an election mode. For example, if you give me an interest subvention, what does it mean to me? Nothing. If you extend my date of returns, it means filing income tax return or any statutory returns, it means nothing to me. Nothing mean to me. Why? I need to pay my wages. I need to create funds. The government in the process has looked at people like Bajaj, who said last meeting on a TV network that we are flush with the funds, we are zero debt company, but not the people who are doing a turnover of 1 or 2 crores. Their margin, like for example, textile, the known margin in the textile is about 5%, as the RBI has also done the study. When we have a turnaround of our money is 6 months to 5 months, where is my cash flow? Gone, kaput. These stimulus that government has announced so far, these stimulus are meant only when the economy is sluggish, there is kind of a recessionary trend in the market. The stimulus and the economic packages, whatever government has announced so far, they are only good when the economy is in trouble, per se, due to external factors or low demands, or could be any natural calamity or anything. Today the situation is different.
Saket
has to come, for example, in Germany.
Yeah. Let's take it one by one. Rakesh, let's take it one by one. Rakesh, let's take it one by one, because the point of suggestions and solutions. So I want Saket to respond to this. Rakesh Vaid, Saket is well speaking as an industrialist, and his concerns are valid. I want you to take a look at the recommendations also. Again, and I borrowed this from this ASSOCHAM report only, and this appears to, somewhat be in agreement with the concerns being expressed by Rakesh Vaid. Look at what is the number one and the most important expectation that people have from the government: direct cash support for urban poor. Now, on one hand, I'm getting comments on my Facebook feed. Naveen Singh, who is there on our Facebook page, Saket, is saying that the stimulus which has been announced by the Reserve Bank of India, it benefits the companies who are all AAA plus. The MSME sector will get nothing. This is where my biggest fear is. If the MSME sector is not getting anything, and the biggest expectation is that urban poor should get direct cash support, do you think the government is on the right track, Saket, to deliver on these two fronts?
So, one, I'll say, look, I'm very sympathetic with what Rakesh said. I mean, I've been in your program before, and I've always sort of cried about NBFCs, etc., not getting the requisite funding from the banking system, and effectively banking credit. I think there is a constraint. Till now, it has gone to MNCs, to the retail sector, and to large corporates, to the top 50 names. And I think the MSME sector has suffered. I mean, I completely sympathize with what he's saying. I also think, and for the first time, I'm seeing light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the last RBI meeting, what has been announced to help, with these LTRO scheme, the NBFC money coming through, which will, let's say, enable, I'm a very small NBFC, right? It helps my company to then on lend to SME. So I think there is a scope happening. Second is, unlike, let's say, the US, which can sign off on a $2 trillion or $2.5 trillion package on day one, or Germany, which I think signed on $845 billion. India has to work differently. A, we do not have that much money. B, the risk of life, I think at the end of the day, life is not a statistic to my mind.
No, I agree. So, but Saket, now here's the point. I agree with you, Saket. Life is important. But then again, let me draw attention to another comment. And both my streams on Periscope as well as on Facebook right now are full of comments. And I think this survey which was put up, and the sheer plea, the cry of anguish which is being expressed by Rakesh Vaid, it is, I think, finding a lot of resonance with people. Anurag Lal, who's also an industrialist and who's also a loyal viewer of ours, he's in my Facebook feed, and look at what he's saying in response to what you're saying, Saket, that human life, of course, without doubt, you can't take any chances with that. What is the use of giving medicine to a patient after the patient is dead? Is the view of Anurag Lal. Now, my question, therefore, is that, is the story of Indian industry, on one hand, there is this mega Reliance NGO deal, but on the other hand, there is poor Rakesh Vaid. What happens to people like Rakesh Vaid? What happens to the MSME sector? What happens to this sector which employs so many people?
So I think that's what I was trying to finish. I think we've handled the health issue, and we are handling the health issue. I don't think the support that we are likely to get is finished yet. I think we're perhaps 30% there. And I'm reasonably confident that the amount of money coming through, I'm not personally a big fan of industry-specific supports, but I do think that a lot of support in the form of working capital, which was the point that Rakesh was making, and I have complete sympathy with them. That with narrow margins for a small company which doesn't have a billionaire at the end of it, it is very difficult to get working capital. I think there needs to be some sort of relaxation or flexibility in things like drawing power with banks for working capital uses. We need to get cheaper working capital into these companies. I think there needs to be flexibility around the restructuring process. But I think some of that stuff is happening. I mean, if you look at us right now as an economy, we are in some sort of suspended animation. So as we are handling the health crisis, I think the rest of the stuff will come. I'm sure it will come in the next 15 days, much before the 3rd May sort of official opening up of the economy. And I mean, I cannot overstress how important the SME sector is to India. I think they're the most important employers. They are, to my mind, especially the younger lot, are the most important in terms of disrupting and being able to compete on the global front. And we need to give them not just support in terms of money, but also anti-competition support, or pro-competition support.
Rakeshji, now Rakeshji, Saket is, I think, being sympathetic to your cause. And let me assure you, right now as we speak and across all my social media platforms, I am seeing top corporates, top bureaucrats. Everyone is watching this broadcast very carefully. So your voice, Rakeshji, your cry of anguish is certainly being heard by a whole range of people. But look at what the third slide actually points out. This year's growth has taken a hit. Longevity of this crisis could slow the economy further. Now, Rakesh bhai, here you're saying that you're struggling. But this slide seems to be suggesting that your struggle is here to be for a long time. What is the solution?
Yeah, of course, it's going to be a very long haul. You know what Saketji was saying, in microeconomy, economists have a good role to play. They help government forming the policy. But I am sorry, during the current crisis, the economists either have not been heard properly, or they have not been given the right scenario, what's going on. I'm talking of the ground reality. Go to any industrial state of the 4 metros, and then, Bangalore and Hyderabad. Who are the major employers? Textile and IT and clothing, major footwear. We are the least priority sector in terms of spending. Any crisis, the apparel industry is hit. The shoe, jewelry, made-ups, everything. Now, as far as my industry is concerned, I'm not talking about my industry alone. The government has a direct delivery system by Manrega or the any other scheme. What government should have done by now. Now, 3rd of May, when lockdown opened, and by the time people start coming, on the 7th of May, the industry normally makes the payment for the wages. I'm saying, hear me, Upender, 90% of the SMEs won't have money to pay. They won't have money to pay to the workers, whether it's salary or wages. There's already, I forwarded you a video of yesterday of Ludhiana. The worker ransacked the factory. The owner said, please go and check my deposit, my bank balance. I have no money. My money is stuck everywhere. So what happens? A wage earner, a worker or floor shop worker who gets 12,000, 15,000, 18,000 rupees a month, he cannot live without money. What we want, the government must immediately act on, deliver the money to the industry in cash, and so that we can pay our wages. We do not need these SOPs I mentioned earlier are useless. Interest subvention, extra loan, extra borrowing, they have no meaning. They just have no meaning for the SMEs right now and medium sector industry, because they are drained of the cash. There is no cash in hand right now. And then the triple whammy, as I mentioned earlier, is there is no future business. So the domino effect is going all the way, will lead to some kind of a social unrest in the country. Government must realize, while we are working for saving the life, it's a noble, every government will do that. Nobody will play with the lives of the public. But when just Saket mentioned about the $2 trillion package of the US government, the 21 trillion economy, they are spending 10%. probably our own economy is now almost touching $3 trillion. We could also work a package of 100, 150, 200 billion. But this package, if government wants to work in the form of interest subvention or duty forgone or this thing or that thing, is not going to work. Government now needs to pump in the hard money into the industry. The stimulus package will, anything less than the hard money will not work. You will see more crisis. You will see collateral damage in businesses, a strong collateral damages. For example, give an example for some industry. You know, the soft goods. Bangladesh is a very big market. Indonesia, Cambodia, Taiwan, India. In our business, if the customer leaves your door once, he never comes back. With the China, also, you know, they're suspicious in view of the world market right now. People want to move away from China. About 10 years back, Japan and Australia signed a pact, a sort of a convention design that let's look for China plus one. They came to India. I led a delegation, a very high powered, myself to Japan and Australia. The MITI and all that, every said, please.
So I hear you. As we move to the next slide, let me just go back to Saket, because again, you know, everything which is being stated here, and that's the beauty of this broadcast. What happens is that people of India, businessmen, small traders, are all looking at this conversation which is taking place very, very closely. Now look at the points which are being made, and this is the overwhelming consensus I'm getting, Saket. One point being made by our viewers is, where is the money with the government to announce such big stimulus? And the second point being made, again by Naveen Singh, who's on our Facebook feed right now, is that salaries have been deferred already. SpiceJet, Vistara, Indigo have already sent a large section of workforce on leave without pay. Now, that is a reality. People being asked to go on leave without pay. What does the government do in a scenario like this? Does the government have elbow room? Does it have enough financial room, Saket?
I'll come back.
Saket.
Look, I think fiscal prudence and rating agencies are, in any case, irrelevant to this crisis, right? We are going to cross 10% of fiscal deficit. Irrespective, I think we will probably be, whether it's 10% or 13% or somewhere in between, I think that's the answer. So I think, you know, we don't need to talk about elbow room. Second, the money is going to have to be printed one way or the other, which is what the US is doing, which is what Germany is doing, everywhere else. So it's a pool of money which is, let's say, outside the budget aspect of what government does, and that will go towards whether it's healthcare or whether it's taking care of people or industry stops. My personal worry in money directly to industry is that it brings up a few fairly serious questions. If, let's say, government, which industries do we prioritize? Because I suspect the government cannot help everybody. I mean, airlines are in deep trouble, hotels are in deep trouble, tourism is in deep trouble, apparels will be in trouble. So the number of significant industries that are in trouble are too many. I don't know how one has to prioritize that. And nobody will be happy. Second is a bit of a moral issue. If the government decides to actually put money directly into the running of industries, would there be a change in, for example, government shareholding in these companies? Or will it be just a SOP that goes in, which, while on one hand, I can understand the logic because it gets workers paid, but there will also be workers who will say that, guess what? I would prefer to have that money, if it's just money that is going to take my pay, it's money that I should perhaps get directly into my Jan Dhan account, because otherwise the owners of businesses are getting free equity. So there's a fine line, and my worry is that, and again, I want to reiterate, I completely sympathize that there is a requirement because we need to get people working. But the question is, what is the exact mechanism that it will take? My personal view is that it is better to actually give money to actually push demand out as much as possible, and in parallel take some infrastructure sort of initiatives, whether it's healthcare or whether it's railways or whatever. And as a combination of this demand rising at the consumer level and this, we hopefully get to see the rest of the industry rise, because I'm just not sure we have enough money to pay people in Manrega, to pay people in the DBTs.
That's what we want to know. If there is no money, then Rakesh, soon. See, Rakesh, now this is where the crux of the argument is, and I'm glad that Saket is well taking the bull by its horns. Where is the money? Airline industry wants a bailout. You want a bailout.
No.
Money has to be given in Jan Dhan accounts. Where is all this money, Rakesh?
I tell you. For example, you see now, as Saket said rightly, government cannot provide us equity and should not. And taking a little off the track, you just mentioned, is government help going to be equity? If government thinks that, on the lines that to pick up the equity in case, when they want to help cash up with the industry, government would act like a scavenger. We are dead and government wants equity from us. No, we don't need that. What we need is a system where we have a Jan Dhan system, where we have all accounts are active. We can provide government with the account details of our employees, our workers. Government can make a direct transfer because the industry per se has no money. Today, to try and imagine a situation, an industrialist who's sitting on a stock, unable to sell, he has to collect his money from his debtors. He cannot collect. He has no future order.
Yeah, Rakesh, my point.
He's cornered. No, wait. The government has
money.
One thing, Bhupen.
Money.
I tell you where the money is.
Money.
I tell you where the money is. If the ESI funds, if the PF funds, and all of the funds have to be deployed into equity market. So what are these funds meant for? Government must put out those funds.
I beg to differ. My money in PF, Rakesh ji, is meant for my old age.
Your PF money. No, but look at the.
I want to
go. No, sir, Saket ji, the PF and ESI deposits are much more than their liability. Most of the people have taken the PF insurance. Like my company, every employee is insured for PF. I have taken care of that. ESI, everything. But government has got liquid money schemes. Money is lying everywhere. If you give money today to a bank, the banks are saying, for example, the government said take 10% of the extra limits. Banks are saying no. We need extra collateral. When we ask government that give us a packing credit or a cash credit, the bank is saying no, we can't give you. We need extra collateral. So what government is saying is
that's exactly the point. I think that the government has. So I totally agree. I think the money has to come in the form of flexible, defined, easier credit to the small scale and SME sector, not in the form of payouts. Because payouts is something that has to come.
If the credit, if I have to borrow money, I'm going more down the drain. I do not want to borrow money right now. I need a hand holding. The borrowing is already going up. I am not paying to my creditors. Debtors are not paying me. My interests are mounting. The banks are also doing business. If you today give me an extra loan, how do I repay the loan right now? I don't need. Last line. Industry is not looking for a capital infusion. We are not looking for a capital infusion.
Well, another viewer,
what we are looking for the government industry is the support to pay wages.
Support to pay wages. Okay, I'm just going to mute you for a moment because Dr. Yash Gulati, another influential voice,
hi,
is there. Hi, Dr. Gulati. Nice to see you. Very well, and thank you. Good to see you too. Hope you're safe and sound, Dr. Gulati. Now explain to me, Dr. Gulati. We're in the midst of this argument. Who has the money? Everyone wants government to bail them out. The contract workers want the government to bail them out. Industrialists want the government to bail them out. Well, hell, government itself wants to bail itself out. Now the question comes that where is the money? Who has the money to take care of all these interests, Yashi?
Well, I mean, I'm not into running a business, so I'm not the right person to answer. But as a professional, I can say that this is a difficult time. I think every person, everybody who's been running the industry, everybody who's been running the hospital or whatever, they have to bear the brunt. Government cannot come in for everything. Government can come in in a small way. Like if I have 20 employees, I'll have to bear that for next 3 to 4 to 6 months. And we have to be prepared for that. And of course, government can give incentives in some kind of stimuli to promote the business. I don't know whether the government can give you cash money. I'm not sure about that.
Saket?
I just don't think there is that much money because I think we are still underestimating the sheer cost of COVID on the healthcare side and of the sheer cost of actually getting the economy started. And we are now, if we take a 2.5 trillion economy and we take let's say 10% of that, so what it is, $250 billion of a deficit budget. We need to run the government also, so that takes away, let's say 5%, 5 out of the 10%, right? So $125 billion goes away. So we're left with $125 billion. You start looking at the cost of payout, because I think, to my mind, the poorest 10% in this country are going to require money for the next 3 to 5 months, right? Counting April. So we talk about August, let's say, by which time there will be people hopefully getting back to work. I just don't think there is enough money. And fundamentally, I think money should be used towards helping those who cannot eat and towards those who need food for medicine. And I think there should be support in the form of credit to help people run. But government providing a free equity infusion, to my mind, we just don't have enough money. And neither can the government. It's fundamentally, if you think of it from a government's budget perspective, it's the classic non-productive investment, what we used to have in the past, where you would have the administrative expenses of our budget effectively increasing, and our infrastructure spend going down. We also need to build a healthcare infrastructure. We need to build a new education infrastructure. So there is money required everywhere. I just, I think it's all my sympathies, but I think it is a sheer constraint.
So there's just no solution. Can I just ask all of you to hold on for a moment, because another interesting voice is there, and General Sivaj, another one of our friends. General Sivaj, good evening. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, sir. General Sivaj again is someone who comes on our TV shows, used to come on my Viewpoint show. Now he's here in his different avatar, in my different avatar. So tell me, sir, on one hand, we are trying to address a money question, General Sivaj. But now, as I get some clarity, and I completely agree with what Saket is saying, that there is no money, and money cannot be spent on making unproductive investments. Let's for a moment digress for a bit, and let's look at the strategic interests. Do you think, General Sivaj, with this global environment of suspicion against China, do you think, strategically speaking, diplomatically speaking, does it in any ways open a bigger opportunity for India?
Yeah, Bhupen, it has to be looked in this way. First of all, we have to understand, as of today, that the GDP of 1.5% is only given to the defense. Today, number of, your equipment has to come. M777 has to come now from America, which is on the pipeline. We have to pay for it. We have to get also K9 Vajra from South Korea. So we are getting a lot of weapon and equipment, and the money was allotted for it, 1.5% of GDP. Now the point which is coming is, what is happened now, COVID-19 has affected everywhere. So there is a danger that whatever was the defense budget, that may also be reduced. Now that will hurt us badly, because the reason is very simple. Now the way the China start flexing its muscles already on the line of actual control, we cannot reduce our defense budget, where we have a shortage of money, but we have to generate some fund so that the defense does not suffer. The second issue which is coming is that, yes, as on today, the number of countries, especially the manufacturing units, want to get out from China, because whether it is Japan, whether it is Korea, whether it is America, now the point is they have already suffered in COVID-19, and they realized that it is China which has started this virus, and China is the one which is now benefiting out of it. So there are a number of manufacturing companies which want to get out. Japan is ready to pay to the companies so that they can come out of it. This is an opportunity for India, especially manufacturing and textile. We should encash on it. We should now try to bring out this issue, that a confidence is generated, where those who are migrating from China, they, rather than going to Indonesia, Vietnam, or to Bangladesh, must come to India. And for that, we have to create an environment for which they can come, and we are able to take it. A very testing time for India in next 4 or 5 months are going to be very challenging for us. We have to be very careful. There's hardly any money. So
I'm just going to mute you. I'm just going to mute you. I'm just going to mute all of you. I'm just going to mute all of you for a moment, because Rakesh Vaid was speaking about a video. And I think the point being made there by General Sivaj, that we have an opportunity strategically. Yes, fine. I take that point. People want to move their businesses away from China. We're already looking at how global flight of capital is taking place. But that video which was being spoken about by Rakesh Vaid, I think the crux of the story is there. We have an opportunity globally. Now we've seen what was going on. So I want to go back. To Rakesh Vaid, and Rakesh was. Rakesh, now explain to me, sir. If this is the reality, and this is what we were talking about, no? This is what you were talking about, Rakesh. We've seen how this entire story was playing itself out. So while on one hand we look at opportunity, but what was going on? People are asking for salaries, and people are not in a position to be given the salary.
Yeah. What you've seen, this video that you have seen is from the Shiva Textile, Ludhiana. The person who owns the company, he explained to the labor that you can go to my bank, don't get seen. I have no funds, but I have funds coming when the buyer pay me. Now, what's going to happen now? In next 2 weeks, the small and medium entrepreneurs, the entire SME chain will have no cash in hand to pay. What I am, reiterating, that government doesn't need to pay us, the industry per se. Government can get the account details of every employee. We pay the PF, we pay the ESI. Wherever we are paying the ESI, PF, government has all the details. Let government do the hand holding for next 2 months, pay the wages. And when we talk of any other industry like the Indigo, 24,000 employees, nothing.
Right.
All the employees put together, probably airlines will be employing over 1 lakh. Our textile chain of clothing alone implies now over 8 million people. Only one apparel chain, 8 million people. We're killing them.
No, I'm looking.
Let me respond to one more quickly to the China. Wait.
Hey, 1 second, sir. Let's take it one by one so that there is order in the debate, because I'm looking at questions as well, and I want to take a lot of these questions which are coming in on various platforms. Dr. Gulati, what is being stated? What is being stated, Dr. Gulati, is this?
I can't see myself on the screen.
That we are stuck in a scenario, Dr. Gulati, where we just don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what could be the next constructive step which could be taken. As I look at all these numbers and I look at this video, please explain to me from a societal point of view, do you think social tensions could well be the order of the day, say, in a couple of weeks time from now, 3 to 4 weeks?
I think that is very much a very, very real possibility. There can be a huge strife. You see, what the government must do, I can understand the government doesn't have money to bail out the industrialists. I can understand that. But if a situation comes when people do not have enough to eat and they don't have the shelter, I tell you, it's going to be a terrible situation. Nobody in this country should starve. Nobody should be desperate. You see, if we can ensure that for next 3 to 6 months, everybody knows that we are going through a difficult situation, but starvation will not be accepted. A roof on the head will not be accepted. And I think we'll have to make arrangements for people somehow to go back to their houses if they want to. Run 1,000 trains and keep social distancing. Let them go. We can't keep them on the roadside. You have to bring some sense. You have to bring some sanity into this situation. You can't leave them in all these places. They are
So
very
final
bad.
question, so final question then to Saket. Well, Saket, on one hand, and that's the beauty again, I'm saying of this broadcast, it's truly an interactive broadcast. There are viewers who are there on our Facebook and on my Twitter stream, and it's packed really. Everyone is saying that the scenario in front of us appears to be extremely tragic. Now you're saying how Dr. Gulati himself decided to get onto this broadcast, and I took him in because I happen to know Dr. Gulati. If this is the reality, this is the picture which is being expressed by industrialists, Saket, what kind of a measure do you think government can take at this stage? What could be, I was wondering, I mean, Franklin Roosevelt, for instance, the former American president during the great American Depression years, he came up with the New Deal. What is the New Deal that you think Modi Sarkar needs to think about at this stage, Saket?
The big challenge, Bhupen, is that the New Deal still had people who could go out and build highways, right? So that was the big achievement. Till the time that people can't come out of their homes, and whether that's May 3rd or whenever it's feasible, I think we have a very different kind of challenge, right? And there, I think what Dr. Gulati was talking about, I'm completely with him. I think we need to perhaps ramp up the amount of money that is flowing through Jan Dhan accounts. I mean, today's date, we've got what, 38 crore Jan Dhan accounts. I think in the last 1 month, 8 lakh crores has been the increase in deposits there. Money has to be given for people to eat food and for people to find a roof over their heads. I am also with him in that once it becomes safe to move, and I'm not a medical expert, so I won't comment on when it is, but I think when it becomes safe for people to move, we need to get as many people into a home kind of surrounding as possible. I think it's effectively something that can transition into a permanent unemployment benefit or whatever. But I think right now the need of the hour is to get cash into the hands of people so that they can buy food and they have the confidence to actually come back and buy the basic necessities as and when they come back into jobs.
All right.
One last bit I would say is that to the
one small thing, can I say, sir?
Just for 1 second. I think there's a labor shortage for harvesting, and I think a lot of money from the Manrega sort of schemes can be used to sort of move some of the workers who move from, let's say, urban centers into villages into harvesting activity, because I think that's the other danger we face. If we don't harvest on time, we will have a different sort of issue. The harvesting and the sort of acquisition of the food grains.
Okay. Saket, Rakeshji, Ashwini, General Sivach, and Dr. Gulati, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. What I hear very clearly is this, that if you're a small businessman, the going ahead for you is going to be extremely tough. If you're expecting the government to look after business interests, well, you're living maybe in some other world, because the government's job right now, according to this overwhelming consensus that I'm getting, is to look after the interests of the poor and downtrodden. Now, how are the interests of the poor and downtrodden going to be taken care of if those who are supposed to give them salaries are not in a position to indulge in industrial activity? I think it's a question that really needs to be asked. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you to all of you for joining us. Dr. Bhupen, program live at 8 o'clock on your platforms. I've really been impressed with all the interactivity which is taking place across different social media platforms. As I've stated every day, my attempt is to simply try and create this platform into a platform which is focused on data and only restricts itself to scrutiny of big data. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I'll see you again. Stay well, stay safe.